What's happening, YouTube? You're in the building again with the Black Avengers of current culture. Me, Larry, my man T Streams. How you fellas doing today?
Man, long day. Long day.
Hey, every day under this COVID-19 has been long. Larry, what's good with you?
Man, everything is everything. Just like you said, every new day that we wake up and our lungs are clear is a blessing, especially for us asthmatics.
Exactly.
So
So
I'm happy. I'm
me
happy
too.
about that.
Me too, man. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got a long covering show today. We got to talk about Breonna Taylor. Larry found that story. We've got a new documentary trailer we're going to cover on Amazon. Then we've got a movie trailer we're going to cover. There's some Marvel news that Killmonger might be in Black Panther 2. They're going to release New Mutants. We got the date. And what is going on with Deadpool 3. So we've got a lot of Marvel news. That's why the hat is on. And in your financial tips for today, I got 4 blue chip stocks for you that can make you money over the next 5 years. Last but not least, Nancy Pelosi trying to get a third stimulus through there to help out the middle class and poor. Larry, we're going to run with your story first. And what's up, family? Let me shout out everybody. Virgo Smith, Mike Willie, CBF BMC. What's happening, y'all? Be sure to subscribe to this channel. Subscribe to Larry. Check out my man T Streams on Facebook and download the podcast. First story we diving into is a young lady by the name of Breonna Taylor. Basically, kicked in the door, waved in the 4-4. All you heard was Breonna ain't talking no more. Here's what happened in the Breonna Taylor saga.
New documents are showing a suspected drug dealer police were looking for the night officers shot Taylor made, quote, frequent trips to her home. Tonight, Gabregagadis has that, plus new comments from the family's nationally known attorney.
In January, police believe the suspected drug dealer, Jamarcus Glover, was using Breonna Taylor's apartment to ship drugs to avoid detection. The search warrant states Glover and second suspect, Adrian Walker, used this vehicle to travel to and from a trap house on Elliott Avenue, more than 10 miles from Taylor's apartment on Springfield Drive. In one instance, detectives said Glover was seen picking up a package from Taylor's home and then taking it to another known drug house. He was charged the same morning Taylor was killed. In March, a judge signed a no-knock entry so police could enter the EMT's home for a narcotics investigation without having to identify themselves. But LMPD says detectives knocked several times and announced their presence. Taylor's attorneys, which include National Civil Rights Attorney Ben Crump, have 4 witnesses who plan to prove them wrong.
They did not identify themselves and that they were in plain clothes.
Kenny Walker right now, his case is so important too because he got charged with attempted murder of a police officer.
Taylor's boyfriend, Kenneth Walker, allegedly shot one of the officers in self-defense. Though he was arrested and charged, records show a judge released him on home incarceration. Wednesday, Louisville Mayor Greg Fisher said the Commonwealth's attorney would be recusing himself in Taylor's case because he's prosecuting Kenneth Walker.
Our expectations and hope and intentions with this case are to shed light on what is a very corrupt police department that has been able, through self-policing and investigating itself, to get away with these kinds of things too often in the past.
LMPD won't comment on pending litigation.
Well, before I let you take this point, Larry, this is what the governor of Kentucky had to say. He's saying the Fed should review Breonna Taylor's case, but we've heard this in our community so many times. So my question to you, Larry, as you expand upon what's going on, is this another one of those justice for a black person?
I mean, it's another deal where it seems like nothing's really going to happen. It's going to be a few news stories about it. Something else is going to take over the news cycle. People will forget about it. And it's just not much. I don't believe much is going to happen because these guys are police officers. They're going to end up, once some of the heat is off of them, they'll go back to what they were doing. They're going to police themselves, and it's just going to be a nothing burger. I mean, the crazy thing is that they didn't even mention in here is the gentleman that they were actually looking for had been arrested earlier in the day. Mm-hmm. They were there to execute a warrant on somebody who had already been arrested. I mean, that's just absolute lunacy.
And this young lady winds up dead. From what I understand, she was an EMT. She was beloved in her community. She was well known by a lot of people in the community, but the story that they're portraying is that the boyfriend was into drugs, blah blah blah, and like you said, they had a warrant for him, but you said they had him and they released him. Larry,
They had the guy that they were there to execute the warrant on had already been arrested earlier. He was in custody when they executed the warrant. They did that no-knock warrant. And they busted in. They didn't have uniforms on. They busted in, didn't announce themselves, and just started shooting the place up. And the person that they were there to actually find was already in police custody because they had arrested him earlier in that day.
So if those are the legitimate facts, T-Streams, shouldn't the governor be doing more than calling for action? Shouldn't the governor be saying people need to be thrown in jail?
Yeah, absolutely. Now, let me understand this clearly. Did the police were they the ones that killed her?
Yeah, the police they shot her like 8 times.
In her bed.
I mean, it's just crazy. It's one of these things where I've said it time and time again where I feel like there needs to be some sort of I don't want to say I'm calling for some sort of violence against police officers or other folks, but part of me is like, okay, let the judicial system see what it does. But I feel like there needs to be some sort of drop squad in this country. There needs to be some way for people to recognize that if you come after us, there's going to be consequences. Right now, there are no fucking consequences for killing black people in this country.
Yeah.
Anybody, if you're a freaking cop, you can murder us at will. If you're a white person, you can murder us and pretty much get away with it. If it flies under the radar, as long as tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of black people don't start tweeting about it and making a big stink about it online, you can kill black people and get away with it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's absolutely crazy. I've never heard of a no knock order. I never knew that such a thing even existed. It was always when that I'm aware of when police are executing a raid that they announce themselves, and there's a reason for that to actually perhaps derail or limit the possibility of gunfights and potential putting either residents in arms danger or either the police themselves. And then too, it also is supposed to help alleviate the fact whether or not you're going to the right or incorrect home. So this whole no knock order is something fishy to me in the first place. Maybe that's how they doing it down in Kentucky. I don't know. But these, it's these type of things that can't continue to go without any solid answers or resolutions to the problems. Because this is, when you look at it, here's another case. And what makes it difficult is because the police control the narrative. They are the ones that write the reports. They're the ones that's going to look out for themselves. We see it all the time where captains and sergeants and majors and commanders all the way down, in order to save face, a lot of them, they people too, they will bend the rules to save face and to bring that type of heat to their department. And so
they don't bend rules. They don't bend rules. They break them. There is no bending rules when you have sworn an oath. When you have sworn an oath, and as a consequence of swearing that oath, they hand you a gun and a badge and have given you authority to take someone's freedom or someone's life. There is no bending rules. They simply break them. They not only do they break the rules, they break the public trust. They have broken their oath to the Constitution. These people need to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. Any officer who breaks a law should not suffer the same consequences as a regular citizen. They should have increased penalties because they have not only broken a law, they have broken the public faith.
And furthermore, the same should be said about politicians too, because as we have seen with this current administration, politicians seem to be above the law. If you got an R beside your name, you damn near can get away with murder. Hell, they're talking about the Republicans in the Supreme Court are saying they don't understand why Congress is coming after Trump's tax return. I mean, this lawlessness is unreal. Blacks and minorities have been complaining about this for years. Now it's on Front Street in the media, and it just seems like the tide is not turning quick enough. If the facts are just like we heard on the news story and what Larry's reporting, this is cut and dry. They wasn't coming for her. They wasn't coming for her. And they're saying that witnesses are saying that they didn't, identify themselves, whatever the case may be. And so someone is dead who honestly didn't have anything to do with anything.
Yeah, and they say that the boyfriend ended up shooting one of the cops.
Yeah.
Right.
As defending his, his place of residence. I'm surprised that he didn't get killed.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy. You think that you have three, you're a black person in a black neighborhood, I'm assuming, and three white dudes, you have no idea who they are. Three people in general, but three white dudes that are in plain clothes, busting your house, shooting at. Why the fuck would you not start shooting back? And they're going to charge him with attempted murder of a police officer? No, that's clearly self-defense. I mean, that shit is asinine. They shouldn't even have brought those charges. The DA should just simply say, this is ridiculous. There's no way in hell I'm charging this guy.
Right.
I mean, it's insane.
Fellas, the only way it seems like justice is going to get served is we have to keep finding these stories, bringing them to everybody's attention, and hope people share them more often until we get to the point where maybe we can shame people into doing the right thing. I hope.
They have no shame. That's the problem. They have no shame because they do not believe that our lives have any value. So they are not ashamed of what they have done, or when they have to lie to excuse what those other people have done. So they have no shame in that because they don't see any value in our lives.
The only way that shame is going to happen to them is you have to take a story like this and you got to blow it up. Once you get enough media people behind it for wrong reasons, it tends to bend the wheel. But here's the problem. It's so many of these things happening. There's no way we can keep up with all of them and report on all of them. There's no way we can do it. But but when we do find them, we have got to report on them to try to do the best we can to force justice.
And I'll tell you, as bad as this is going to sound, as effed up as this is going to sound, I wish this would just hurry up and start happening to white people on a regular basis. We need this shit to happen to white people because that's when it stops happening to everybody. That's when it stops happening. When they start doing no-knock warrants in these white neighborhoods and busting in and shooting up and killing white EMTs. When the Breonna Taylor, instead of her being the black girl with the cute chubby cheeks, instead is the white blonde girl with blue eyes that's an EMT driver. That's when this shit stops happening. That's when they start passing laws that say you can no longer execute no-knock warrants. That's when they start saying you have to announce yourself. You can't just bust in and start shooting. They don't care about the laws when they only affect us. We need this stuff to happen to white people. And I fucked up to say it because I don't want anybody to go through this. White, brown, Asian, I don't want anybody to go through this. But our country is such that the change will not come until it affects white people.
But I mean, what you're saying is historically accurate. Things don't change until they affect the people that are the majority in our society, and that's a damn shame. So, like I said, fellas, we'll keep abreast of these type of stories, and we'll report on them to try to keep the heat on these situations as they come. And I'm going to take us to something that's a little lighter, so we can calm down without having to smoke a spliff. How about we do that?
Let me go grab my vape pen.
Yeah, man. We don't need all that. So now we're going to move into movie and TV show reviews. Amazon is doing a series on the true heroes of COVID-19. Kevin Hart is doing the narration. Let's take a quick look at it. Now my DJ been acting up, y'all. So I just got to warn you, my DJ been acting up, but I think this is it. So that's not it. Well, for those of you that need a little inspiration, a little motivation, a little uplifting when it seems like our government is failing us at every single corner, T-Strings, are you going to check that out?
Yeah, I'm gonna check it out, man. I like things that gives a sense of hope or something to look forward to, especially seeing that my wife is right there on the front lines as well.
Right.
So I have a personal interest in it.
Okay, Larry, I know you are a thinker, a man who likes documentaries and things of the such. Are you going to give it a try?
No, man, I'm not watching that crap. I need to feel bad right now. I'm gonna watch it, man. I need to pick me up, man. I do. I need to pick me up. I feel like we just been getting hit left and right.
Oh yeah.
It's like we were getting hit hard with all the COVID stuff, and then they just want to. It's like white folks are so frustrated with their own selves, they start killing us again. So it's just like, not like they ever stopped, but now we're just getting it even more. So it's been a hard couple of weeks, man. It's this week and last week. It's been a hard time going. So, it'd be nice to have a nice pick me up like that.
Damn, Larry, I guess you say brothers don't get no breaks, huh? COVID is killing more of us, and then we got them people out there chasing joggers down, man. Damn.
I'm telling you. It's
brothers
just
don't get no breaks.
Yeah, we're in a hard spot, man.
Okay, so now that we're in a hard spot, I'm going to take us to an even darker spot. This movie is streaming right now, and for those of you that are fans of The Walking Dead, this might be something for you. Let's take a look.
So how long were you out there for?
I lost track of the time.
Did you get bit?
This planet we're on is so sick of our shit. That's why the dead keep coming back to life.
You're immune. I'm not. What if my baby isn't either?
It's bad. Ninagasi. I heard that you can cure bites here.
Ain't nobody immune here but us.
One of them could come in here and infect this entire camp.
Behind you.
You want to live?
Who says we're immune? Odukja uksid hamo. Awenda sui lexicon.
Fellas, Blood Quantum streaming right now on Shudder. It reminds me of that show T-Streams put me on called Containment. Larry, I'm gonna give it to you first. Are you gonna watch this movie?
I don't know, man. That might be a little too much for me right now.
Come on,
man.
Come on, man. Come on.
Just watching the trailer was intense, man. That might be a little bit.
Hey,
man, that dude, the native dude said maybe the Earth forgot about us. Damn.
Yeah. Hey, that was rough, wasn't it? Hey, yeah. T-String, I know you watching it.
I'm watching it tonight.
That's my guy. That's my guy. Okay, if you're gonna watch it tonight, I'm gonna watch it tomorrow so that Friday we can report on it.
Right. Yeah, I've been, I hadn't had my TV on I hadn't had my TV on in maybe 2 days, so this will be good to sit back and watch a nice little movie.
Okay.
And I'm into all that, like that gory, anything that has all the stuff that normal people probably wouldn't watch all the time. That's the kind of stuff that I watch.
Hey, me too. Hey, look, I used to watch Walking Dead till it started getting stupid, man. When they killed Glenn, I said I'm out.
Yeah,
I was out.
Man, I'll tell you, I watched The Walking Dead for a few seasons, and then I watched the what's the one that was in LA?
Don't Fear the Walking Dead.
Yeah, I think Fear the Walking Dead. Something like that. Anyway, I watched up to then. And then after a while, I was just like, you know what? You have all these damn zombies coming after you, trying to kill you every which way, and they just still want to keep fighting each other. I was like, I just didn't care anymore. I was like, let them kill each other. I was like, let them all get killed. Did they kill themselves? Did the zombies get? I was like, I didn't care. I was like, in the middle of a damn zombie apocalypse, you're still running around trying to kill each other. I was like, I was like, the earth needs to forget you, as the native dude said. The earth needs to forget you.
Lord have mercy, man.
It actually talks right into our vanity as human beings. Sometimes it seems like, regardless of how drastic the situation is very, very hard for human beings to sometimes just come together as a cohesive unit to overcome the situation. And so
we will still find ways to hate each other, is what you're saying.
Absolutely.
That's sad.
Zombies could be walking around, both humans and dogs, and folks are still finding a reason. I don't like that, man.
Yeah. Larry be hanging over there with the people that's hacking gold, as if gold's gonna help your ass in a zombie apocalypse. That's what Larry gonna be over there making people pay to get on like a train or something and hide from the zombies with gold doubloons or something.
Not me, man. I'm about to go out. I'm about to head to one of these ports and go hijack a big ass cruise ship. I'm gonna be out there at sea by myself with me and my family. I might cruise down, see if I can get down to North Carolina and pick you up if you're still alive.
Hey, man. Hey, pick me up, brother, and let me drive my Tesla right on up there, and then we could sail to Canada somewhere where they can't get to.
So I'm gonna be like, I hate to do it. I'm gonna be like, I don't want to tell you to strip search you, but I'm gonna have to search you for bites, brother. I'm gonna have to search you for zombie bites.
Damn. Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do in a survival situation. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are gonna go on to, we got a little bit of Marvel news today, but before we do that, my man Mike Willie, he done blessed me with a super chat, and I got a new graphic for my man Mike Willie. We're gonna give him the standing ovation of the day. Wait a minute. Somebody done been in here messing with my DJ. I swear. Lord have no, they didn't. Here you go, Mike Willie. This is for you. That's for you, Mike Willie, baby. That's for you. We appreciate that.
Oh.
So in our Marvel news, this is going to make Larry happy because for whatever the reason, Larry does not want Killmonger to die.
He's not dead. Killmonger is the hero of Wakanda and of the world.
Here we go. And there has been a prevailing rumor, I don't know if it's fan-made or true, that Killmonger, if you guys remember when he died, he said, bury me in the oceans where my ancestors are, who jumped from the ships because they knew death was better than bondage. So the prevailing fan theory is maybe Killmonger did get to the bottom of the ocean and somewhere in Atlantis, and during the snap, he somehow or another got resurrected. He goes and talks to Namor about his hatred for Wakanda, and now him and Namor team up to come back, to destroy, to lay waste, to incinerate, to inspire fear, hatred, and debauchation on Wakanda. Larry, I know you'd love to see that, wouldn't you?
Oh, yeah. I would love to see that. I would love to see them come in together and for Killmonger to take his rightful place on the throne of Wakanda. That would be absolutely incredible.
Do you think Namor going to let his ass sit on the throne of Wakanda after he brings him back?
He might.
No.
He might, because a lot of those ocean folks are pretty much like, look, we're only up here because you fools won't leave us alone. I'm going to put our dude here. He's going to be like, we're not touching them ever. And then they can go back to the ocean and live their lives,
Well, if that's really and truly the case, there being no more better isolationists than what Wakanda was doing.
Well, Wakanda was doing their thing as far as isolation, boy. They're like the self-distancing champions.
Exactly. T-Streams, would you like to see Killmonger come back as kind of the middle ground villain to the main villain of Namor in Black Panther 2?
If they did, man, I would really be interested in seeing how they pull it off. I don't know if falling down to the middle of the ocean and the ocean goes resurrecting you is satisfying for me. But
hey, how did we get Captain America? They plucked him out of the ocean, the bottom of the ocean, frozen. And that's how we got Captain America.
Yeah. And so I'm interested to see how that will fall through. I think it could possibly work out, but if they bring him back, they got to make sure that it's done right. It can't be anything just too cheesy, man.
Yeah. I have complete faith in Ron Coogler. I would normally say I have faith in Kevin Feige, but let me use that as the way to transition into my next story about Marvel. So I think Larry has been clamoring for it. My homeboy James Booker, shout out to him, has been clamoring for it. Everybody has pretty much liked the Deadpool movies. Now they're rated R.
Deadpool is probably one of my favorite joints in Marvel. It might be. It might be my favorite.
Now they're rated R, and Marvel now has the rights to Deadpool. And Kevin Feige has been hell-bent that he is not doing any R-rated movies. And so someone very, very close to the first two movies had this to say in regards to Kevin Feige and what Marvel plans to do with Deadpool and the Uncanny. Here we go.
No Deadpool or X-Force in production. Rob Liefeld blames Kevin Feige. What he actually had to say was very different. This is a quote, and again, coming from the Inverse podcast, which he went on live and re-reported by comicbook.com. This is what he had to say about Deadpool and the upcoming Marvel Studios involvement with the project. We got two brilliant movies, and we live in a culture that always looks forward because they're ever selling us next. It's the fever. For me, as the fever calms down, people just need to calm down and realize Deadpool 1 and 2 were released within 2 years of each other, 2016 and 2018, and I'm not really crazy about what Marvel's plan is right now. He goes on to say, it's the first time I go, hey Kevin, do you even have a plan? Your plan was Eternals and Shang-Chi? That was your plan? And Black Widow? So they close the door, Chris Evans says goodbye, Robert Downey Jr. says goodbye, Black Widow falls off a cliff and says goodbye. They almost lose Tom Holland to Sony, but you're a genius, Marvel. You're a genius.
Damn. Boy, that
dude feels all kinds of ways.
That man sounds like he want him some Deadpool. Now, it is true. They have not made any determination on Deadpool, whether they're going to drop it or make it. T-Streams, how do you feel about Deadpool, and what do you think Marvel's intentions are going to be with a rated R movie? And your executive is not a fan of rated R.
Man, you need something for the big guys, for the adults.
Right.
Keep it. It's nothing. And both of those movies are tremendously entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
I watched both of them. I like them. And I think that it has a potential future. Go ahead and do it. There's a small thin line anyway between PG-13 and rated R. A little bit extra blood and a few extra more curse words. So,
right?
It really don't even make a difference. So, and then too, when you think of it, hell, all the movies should be rated R. You should be able to see some blood if they doing all that fighting and stuff like that. But I think it's more concerned. They're more concerned about their image with the kids and all this other kind of stuff. But keep something for the adults. You know, it's brandable. It already has a fan base for it. It's good.
Larry, I know this is your puppy, man. Vent about Deadpool 3.
I mean, I get why they wouldn't want to make it rated R, especially since it's going to be a Disney property. They want to make sure that it is as broadly available to the Disney audience as possible. Mm-hmm. And if it's a PG-13 movie, it's easy to slap it up there on the Disney Plus thing and say, hey, everybody can watch it. They don't have to do anything special to sort of separate it out from the other movies. But if they're not going to make it rated R, I think they should maybe have what's his name directed. The dude, what's his name? James Gunn, mm-hmm. The dude that did Guardians.
Yeah.
Because he did a good job with making Guardians funny and a little bit risque in such a way that adults really enjoyed it, but it was still funny and kid-friendly to a certain extent. So I'm not sure if you can do that with Deadpool entirely, because I feel like Deadpool is,
he's rated R. I mean,
even in the comics, he was. I mean, all the Marvel comics, really, when you read the comic books, none of them should be rated anything less than R if you read the comic books. But Deadpool in particular. So, I mean, I would like to see it keep its rated R. You know, it's R rating, and let us just enjoy it for what it is. Not everything has to be for the kids. You know, so.
Well,
it's what it is.
The thing is, are we going to get the movie? When are we going to get the movie? We're just in a stalemate right now. So
yeah, they're probably not in no big rush to do it. But here's the thing: Disney knew that before they even purchased Marvel. So you know they was already aware that, you know, this is what comes with the territory. You can't purchase something and then try to bend it and make everything Mickey Mouse's. It's just not going to work that way. And if they try to continue that model, you know, it's going to hurt the brand. At least the Marvel brand, it'll hurt it.
You know? I don't know, man. I don't know. You're talking about one movie out of a series of movies that have been good, and none of them have really been rated R.
Yeah.
Well, I'll say this: when it comes to Deadpool, part of their thing that they've done with him is they've had a lot of fun poking fun at the characters, the actors, Marvel itself. They've had fun poking fun at all of that inside of the movie, sort of breaking character a little bit. Like, I think of the scene where he went up there and he signed that mutant kid's cereal box, and he signed it Ryan Reynolds.
Right.
And, they do little stuff like that all the time. So they could make it funny where they poke fun at Disney and say, what do you mean I can't cuss? That's some bull. And every time he tries to cuss, like a bleep comes out of his mouth, like a visual bleep comes out of his mouth, or something silly, some way that expresses how often he cusses and how much they're bleeping him out or censoring him. I think they could do it and make it funny. So
I would like to see him team up with Howard the Duck.
They haven't brought Howard back in yet, except for that little short bit.
Yeah, I want to see him team up with Howard the Duck, my favorite little hero duck. So
yeah,
let's get that popping. And
let's get that going.
We got one more Marvel story, and this one involves a movie that is 2 years and a half old, The New Mutants. Fellas, we have a theatrical release date. This movie is set to drop in theaters. I don't know what the conditions of the theaters is going to be. I don't know what is going to be happening around this time, but this movie is set to drop August the 28th of this year. I think it's going to die a fiery death, and it could be a situation where they're going to try to drop it in the movie for 2 weeks, depending upon what's going on with the Rona during that era, but it's set to go in August. T-Streams, What do you think is going to happen when it's time for this movie to come out? August is very close.
August is very close. I think that they really, right now they didn't really have no choice. But hey, drop it, push it, let it do what it do. They've already been sitting on it for 2 years. Ain't no need to sit on it longer. Just put it out. Let people get their appetite wet with getting back comfortable with going to the movie theater. After a couple weeks, slide it on Disney Plus or wherever you're going to put it. Call it a wrap and look forward to future projects. But you got to get something out there. Now, by it being that close to the curb of this pandemic stuff, it may not be very many people in there, so it may not do very well as it would have, had this situation not been going on. But that's just something that you're going to have to see. I mean, well, damn, how long do you really want to keep tabling this project? Push it out there.
Does Disney have this one, or is this a Sony one?
No, it's Disney.
It's Disney?
Mm-hmm.
So, I'm thinking like, this is what I would do if I was Disney. I would release this in July, and I would say, it's gonna be a rental. It's not gonna be just included with the Disney Plus thing. It's gonna be a rental. But what I would do is I would say you pay the $19.99 to rent it, and you get 2 months of free Disney Plus. So you figure Disney Plus right now is what, $7.99 a month or $6.99 a month?
No.
So you figure that's what, 7. So 2 months is about $14. So you're really only paying, a couple of bucks for the actual rental, and then you get to watch Disney Plus for 2 months. So, and you get to boost your subscription. And most likely, once people get into Disney Plus, they'll just keep it. Oftentimes, people get these subscriptions and they forget they even have them, so they just keep them.
Yeah.
So,
well,
that's what I would do.
Well,
because what's the point of putting it in a theater that only is going to have at minimum? I mean, they're only going to allow them to have like
a third
of the people, if even that. Right. And then a lot of people still aren't going to want to show up. It's just
to me, I really think that they're just going to put it in theater for a month and then try to resell it on Disney Plus and then try to drop DVDs of it. That's what I think.
I wouldn't even go a month. That's just us. You know what happens though? You have a month, and the movie better be straight fire, because you put it out in the theaters and people are like, "Oh, we've been waiting for this for 2 years and it's garbage." And then you try and release it on VOD, and people are like, "I'm not paying for that."
Larry, I don't know how much more fire you're going to get for something that was really made 3 years ago.
And that's what I'm saying. They should just go ahead and put it. They should just go ahead and put it out on Disney Plus.
I agree.
Are people still buying DVDs?
Hey, people buy DVDs.
Are people still buying DVDs?
People still buying Blu-ray.
People do.
Yep.
But I mean, some of these things, like if you plan on having, Disney Plus as a subscription, why should you go out and buy all the Marvel series movies on DVD when you can just be like, "Oh, I want to watch the Avengers. Blink, it's on. Oh, I want to watch Black Panther. Blink, it's on. I want to watch Civil War. Blink." Instead of having to go grab your DVD, put it in your Xbox or put it in your Sony player, whatever you have, and then go watch it. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense. I mean, I think it's great for people who don't have subscription services and don't want them. But other than that, I don't even really see the need for them anymore.
Yeah. Well, that's going to table our Marvel conversations. We're going to move on to the money section. I know that's what y'all really want to hear, how y'all can make some money. Before we get there, let me shout out my man, Howard Mint Quarters. You know we've got a voice con for you. Here we go. I love this one. It makes me laugh every time.
I represent the rent is too damn high party. Playing the silly game, but it's not going to happen. The rent too damn high movement. The people I'm here to represent can't afford to pay their rent. Listen, someone's stomach, child's stomach just growled. Did you hear it? Rent is too damn high.
Rent is too damn high.
Rent is too damn high. Thank you, Howard Mint Quarters, because the rent is high under COVID. And in our financial section today, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about 4 great stocks you can buy that are going to be long-term holds. If you know me well, you know that I believe in long-term investing, getting a double-digit return on your money and you leverage individual stocks with either index funds or ETFs. And today we're going to do 4 great stocks that was in the news today. And they was in the news because today was a bloody red day in the stock market because of what Fed Chair Powell had to say. Take a look.
The scope and speed of this downturn are without modern precedent, significantly worse than any recession since World War II. We are seeing a severe decline in economic activity and employment, and already the job gains of the last decade have been erased. Since the pandemic arrived in force just 2 months ago, more than 20 million people have lost their jobs. A Fed survey being released tomorrow reflects findings similar to many others. Among people who were working in February, almost 40% of those in households making less than $40,000 a year had lost a job in March.
Damn.
This reversal of economic fortune has caused a level of pain that is hard to capture in words, as lives are upended amid great uncertainty about the future.
So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. When that man dropped out and he said those things, the stock market was red all day except for a few choice stocks that all the blue chippers are saying you should hold on to. So number 1, take a look at this. Uber, very inexpensive stock. They got an infusion of $50 million to buy protective equipment for all its drivers and to provide protective equipment for its passengers. So if you're someone who believes in buying and holding and you want to get something while it's low, this is Uber. And I always tick my marker for the last week. And over the last week, they have made 10% on what you would have invested last week. And they was in the green today. Check out Uber. And fellas, I'll let you guys talk about them each individually. I'm going to just run through them real quick. Next one we got on the ticket is Target. Target. Why was they saying Target is a good stock to buy? Well, number 1, they've gotten more foot traffic, but they've also fortified their online buying. People are buying from Target online in triple the rates they were back in the day, and their foot traffic has gone up double. And usually what that means is once we get back to a normal place in society, when you increase your traffic by that much, you literally have to insult the people for them to leave from shopping with you. So that's why Target is a good buy, but they're rather pricey. But as you can see in the last week, they returned you 3%. Next one, that's a good one to hold on to, GlaxoSmithKline. Why do you want some GlaxoSmithKline? They are in the runnings with the 3 predominant companies coming up with a worldwide vaccine. And they are very close, along with the other company I mentioned on Monday. And people was just giving them money left and right because they released some news on just about how close they are. And then there are proofs they've gotten overseas. So if you want another long-term buy, GlaxoSmithKline is a good one. And it's not that expensive. You got a 3% return on your money. Next and last, Datadog. If you've never heard of Datadog, they are similar to PayPal, meaning that they are a processing organization. They're now doing lending. They process money for a bunch of individuals, and they are doing well just simply because they are doing well. And people have been looking for other avenues to exchange money besides the bank, and they're forecasting that they are going to overtake PayPal in the next year or so because more people are figuring out to do things online, and this is a resource to use online. Fellas, any insight, anything you guys have to say about these stock picks or what the Fed chair had to say with those damning remarks about America's economy due to COVID-19? I give it to you first, Larry.
Yeah, I think it's one of these things where, you bring in a bunch of people that are at the very best, the most generous I can be, are semi-competent, and most of them are probably incompetent when it comes to running, a country. And so when you start talking about financial policy outside of creating policy inside your little corporation, and your little corporation might be fairly large, but it's not the size and scale of a national economy. And I think we're suffering as a consequence of that. And so I think I think really what it is, we're just going to have to deal with the bad. We're going to have to deal with the bad economy in some respects. It may be fine for rich people, but as everyday working people, we're going to have to deal with the economy that we have until we get new leadership. And that's just the way it is. And, you know, some of those stock picks, I think they're great, but most people really can't afford to buy $115 stocks in Target or, you know, $43 a share stock. I mean, you think about that. I mean, you're trying to block, if you just try and buy a block of GlaxoSmith, I mean, you're talking about, you know, try and buy a GlaxoSmithKline, try and buy a block of stock. That's, you know, you're talking about $4,300 just for a 100 share block, you know. That's a lot of money. So I mean, these are great stocks with you know, all of them are going to be, you know, they all seem like they're going up. They're great if you're looking at holding them for long term and collecting dividends. It's just they're expensive, and a lot of people don't have the money right now, or people are holding on to their money because they're unsure of what their future is going to look like through all of this. So I think this is one of those things that's unfortunate about all global crisis or even regional or national crisis. It's always a great opportunity financially for the wealthy, for people who have money. For everybody else, it's just another time that you have to hold your shekels and hope that you have enough to get through it, you know?
Okay.
So
T-Stream, pass it to you.
Yeah, man. The report was a little bleak and grim. Wanted to sort of run in my room and jump up under my covers real quick because it was like, we live in a doom and gloom age right now, and it was really it's crazy because these are some of the things that you never think that you would be living in. You read stuff like this in a Dean Koontz book or something, but here it is. It's now our reality. Man, I just, you know, my heart goes out to the middle class, to the especially the lower middle class, those who you know making it by check to check, and now they like, what do I do? You know what I'm saying? And those are, I'm sure, regular conversations within the homes of many Americans right now, not actually knowing what the hell to do right now. And it's really crazy. With the stocks, man, anytime you have something like that and it's going strong, and you are able, you know, it's always wise to get what you can, you know, when you can. But you also have to use, some type of foresight, you know, to see if, you know, if this is trending right now because of the situation, and will it continue to trend after this situation, or will it plummet? So those are just some of the normal questions that you would ask yourself when you looking to pick any stocks anyway, especially when there's things going on that could potentially affect whether a stock does well or not. But you know, get you something, find you something, even, you know, even if it's not on it. I was surprised to see that Uber got that little boost like that. That is a lot. That is a lot, and that says something about that. I'm not sure exactly who's over Uber and what kind of financing and backing that they have, but whatever they got, they doing something right.
Mm-hmm. So,
you know, I think part of the I was going to say, I think part of the thing with Uber is that, you know, in a lot of parts of the country, and I'm not sure how it is for you out there, Lamont. I know Detroit has a pretty robust, public transit system. Here in DC, we have one of the largest public transit systems with our metro system, and ridership is down like 90-something%. And they don't expect that, even as people start to go back to work, that it's going to pick up to the same degree where it was. That there's already a lot of concern for people, you know, that are in DC. Some of the people that run DC are really worried because people that are coming from outside of the district, from Maryland and Virginia that they're going to drive in. The city's not equipped to handle all those people driving in, but people are not going to want to sit on a metro train for an hour, 30 minutes, or 45 minutes. I mean, there's some days when those trains are so packed that you can't move. You're holding onto the rail and you have people all up against you. There's no way to social distance and run the public transportation like that. So I think Uber is going to be one of those things where people start to turn to, where they just simply say, yeah, it costs me a bit more, but I can pay $15 in Uber home, and know that I'm in the car by myself, or I can pay, $5 and hop on the metro and possibly have COVID by the time I get home to my kids and my wife.
Mm-hmm.
So
whenever I do these stock picks for you all, the questions T-Stream was asking, why are they going up or going down that day? What's causing the trend? Why are they getting infusions or cash? Whenever I find these stocks for you guys, I answer those questions. I tried to answer them today. Uber is making sure they double down on providing protective equipment for their drivers and for the riders, in lieu of what Larry is saying about highly populated areas. They're not going to be getting on metros and buses, but also Uber has been doing gangbusters in food delivery.
Right.
I didn't mention that in the beginning. So they're not just banking on the people coming back. They're banking on people entrusting their food deliveries to them, knowing that these drivers have masks, they've got gowns, they've got sanitation stuff all in the car. So they decided to give that investment of $50 million to put these in the drivers' hands. And you can bank on that for at least the next 3 years and get you a double-digit return on that. Yeah. And with the other companies, the type of things that was said by the Fed chair didn't even bother them, because they've seen such growth in other avenues of their business that had nothing to do with Corona. So I always do that homework and try to bring you guys a certifiable evidence and then check the history of how they've been trending before I make a stock recommendation. However, I continue to say, when you buy individual company stocks, make sure you leverage it with ETFs. And the other thing, to Larry's point about not being able to afford the high dollar stocks, I'm also trying to make sure I find some that are under $100. Start somewhere, get one, get two, get one each month. Just get into this capitalistic system and just let that be a vessel of saving, and it'll grow over time. Long term is how you win, ladies and gentlemen. Long term is how you win.
Yep. I'll be honest with you. I really think that following this, this pandemic, I really think that economists, are going to start. They're really going to start reevaluating how much influence the Dow has as an indicator of our economic health, because it doesn't make any sense that we are looking at potentially going as high as 25% unemployment, and the Dow is still at 23,000. It doesn't make any sense. At this point, it really is not a true indicator of our economic health. What it is an indicator of the economic well-being of the 1%, and that's it.
But then you have to account for the S&P too, and you've got to account for the NASDAQ. But the thing that's been propping up the entire system has been technology stocks. Some of your most expensive stocks are the ABCs, your Googles, your Microsofts, your Amazon. These stocks are still running 2,000 or more. And they've just been going up. And now you've got Zoom done jumped into the mix. WebEx is back up. WebEx was down for a little while. They're kind of a competitor to Zoom. Now they're sky high because people have been using the technology stocks. And when you look at what was green today versus what was red, a lot of it has something to do with technology. Uber is a technology in essence, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, technically, it's just an app that brings people together via somebody's own car, and they're considered a technology stock. So you might have to start going by what is driving the future of economics. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, it's definitely technology.
Yeah, and I think some of these stocks like Cisco will start going up, because some of these companies that are dealing with that like, for instance, that use, like you were talking about with Zoom, where they do the whole meetings at home and all this stuff. I think some of these other companies like Microsoft Meetings and Cisco, these are companies that have dealt with federal and state and local governments for a long time. And now they're going to be able to move in and deal more with them as far as these distance meetings, these remote meetings, because they already have all the security stuff in place. That was one of the issues that Zoom took a big hit on early on, was they had issues with security and then passing data back and forth to Facebook, I think it was. Well, you don't have that when you start looking at Microsoft Meetings and Cisco. These are companies that have already locked their systems down and have secured government contracts. And so everything's in place. All they really have to do is scale up. So I think some of those stocks in those areas are probably going to be I know Cisco's already been on a sort of it's been going up, but it's like anything. They have a roller coaster ride a bit, but I think they're going to be pretty strong. I think they're at like $42 now or something like that. So
they're hanging tough. And now that that gloom and doom T-Stream spoke about, we careen to someone who's trying to sing a better song than another sad love song. I'm talking about Larry's girl, Nancy Pelosi. She is trying to get out another stimulus package that is geared toward middle class, poor, those that are on the front lines working with COVID-19. But y'all know she's meeting some resistance. Take a look at what she's proposing.
In our plan, not only the money for testing, but all the health care that goes with that, the hospital assistance to hospitals and care in addition to testing and tracing. So it's a big ticket item, and it's a decision. And if we don't do it, we will not get a handle on how big this virus challenge is, and we won't understand the disparity with which it is attacking different communities. So if we test, we can diagnose, we can treat and trace, so we stop the spread of this. Then we can open our schools and our economy, and we want to do it all as safely and as soon as possible.
Did you guys see those 4 quote criteria she had? She wants to give $75 billion to people that own homes, rent homes, whatever. T-Streams know what I'm talking about on that one. She wants to renew the stimulus payments. She wants to give local governments and municipalities money that are desperate right now, pay their EMTs, their first responders, local nurses, and things of that nature. T-Streams, is she going to be able to pull this one off when we know that the rich and upper class have made off like bandits, and now they want your ass to go to work and spend up that $1,200? Is Pelosi going to be able to pull this off?
I don't know. That's a lot, man. A $1 trillion bill.
$3 trillion.
3.
Yeah. That is a lot. I don't, I'm looking at I look at it like this. It's definitely a lot of money. Okay. I don't know what they have in the bill that's going to say that how this is going to be funded, where they're going to get it from, and all this other kind of stuff. But whether or not she's going to be able to pull it off, she may. She may. Folks may start calling their senators and and their state reps and stuff like that, trying to push the issue because they are in need. Now, if they look at it from the fact that, hey, this stuff is going to go on for a few more months, possibly a lot longer. We need to do something because people are still going to be at home, and the majority of the people are not going to be able to go back to work. Then maybe they may be able to do something about it. I doubt that it'd be able to skate through as she has it planned. The other side going to have to wallow it in the mud across the fence before they come up with something. They're not going to just take anything from her and just say, okay, Nancy, here you go ahead and let it roll. And so it's not going to happen that way. But I would be interested to see how this plays out. Okay. And then too, honestly, I would be more so interested in actually being reading the actual Senate bill just to see exactly what's specifically involved in it. So we know what you said, but what else is involved in it? You know, this will be something interesting to follow, as this is definitely a lot, and it's going to have to be funded some way.
Larry, give it to you. I think one thing that they're trying to negotiate, that Trump is trying to hold it up. He wants more funding for the wall in anything that's going to come through. And then you've got all these, and y'all about to make me cuss. Y'all know when I start talking about these politicians, my blood pressure go up. Now all of a sudden, all these politicians that were normally budget hawks are all of a sudden now they're worried about the deficit. But Larry, correct me if I'm wrong, but we just done a few stimulus programs that were how many trillions of dollars?
Yeah, I mean, let's just be real. Every time there is either a Republican president or a Republican-controlled Congress, they balloon the deficit up every time without fail. It's either ballooned up because they do something like start a new branch of government. I mean, a new department of the government like Homeland Security, which is larger than all the other departments together, or they give huge tax cuts to the rich, and it ends up having to be paid by borrowing money from China. So
don't forget about they take us to war too, and then you get war profiteers.
Right. So every time there's a Republican president or a Republican-controlled Congress, they end up ballooning up the deficit, and then they want to scream about. Then they want to scream about the Democrats, and they want to call us tax and spend. Well, guess what? Tax and spend is how most people run their lives. You earn a certain amount of money, and you turn around, you spend that money to pay for your bills. You don't borrow to pay your bills and then just keep borrowing and borrowing and borrowing and then cutting. You don't say, well, I'm just never going to work. I'm never going to generate any income. I'm just going to go ahead and just borrow. No, you have to actually go and earn that money. And for the government, the way they generate their money is through taxes. So, I mean, I'm okay with tax and spend. I think tax and spend is the responsible thing to do. You tax the crap out of people until you have enough to pay this off. And right now, the people that need to be taxed are the rich. That's just the way it is. They don't pay enough tax.
Well, where are you going to get the money from? Like, if you don't tax them, where are you going to get the money from? Like,
they should get anything over like $250,000 should be taxed at like 50%. Anything over $2 million should be taxed at like 75%. That sounds absurd, but guess what? That is the way that it was when we were under most of our former presidents up until around Reagan. And guess what we had in this country around then? A strong ass middle class. That's what we had. And rich people were not running around talking about they're not rich. They were still rich. They still had mansions and fancy cars and yachts and vacation homes. They still had all of that.
And they didn't want to leave the country and all that other felonious crap we be hearing. Oh, if you raise my taxes, I'm just going to move to fucking China or somewhere. No, you're not. No, you're not.
And they need to get rid of all these tax havens. So yeah, you can leave. Cool. Guess what? You want to go over there? If you want to leave the country and go find a tax haven, just guess what? Your 75% tax rate is now 95%. We're still going to get our money one way or the other. And if you leave, expect that if you're a business and you want to leave and go somewhere else, you want to do some crazy sort of corporate inversion, that's cool. Just fully expect that any product that you bring back here is going to be taxed so heavily that no one will want to buy it. I mean, that's the way it should be.
I hope they can come to a resolution because the wheels in this economy are not going to be turning in full for a very long time. Y'all heard Fed Chair Powell say that himself. It's going to be a while, and people are going to need relief. We're at a point right now where people are getting paid more from unemployment than what some of them were getting paid when they was at work.
Absolutely.
And what's sad about that? When you take that $600 a week that they give them and you add that up, that is the equivalent of paying somebody $15 an hour. That's what that is. And what have people been talking about for the last several years? Bernie's been out there. A lot of other labor groups have been talking about. They've been talking about $15 an hour.
But
That's it.
here's the problem with that. I'm a proponent of that, but you have to put some kind of other buffer in place, because if not, all a business is going to do is raise the prices on their goods and services, which basically defeats the point of giving the people the $15 raise in the first place.
That's not true though, Lamont. That's just simply not gonna. They'll raise the prices a little bit. But here's the thing: if you go to a place like if you go to a country like like Austria or Sweden or Switzerland or someplace where they have minimum wages that are $25, $27 an hour, and you go look at and you go to McDonald's, and let's say our Big Macs here cost $2.50. You go over there, their Big Mac may cost $3, but guess what? You're here making $7.25 an hour, and they're over there making $25 an hour. So even if the prices go up a little bit, they're not going up so much that it's offsetting the amount that you're making by having a higher minimum wage.
No, that wouldn't work here, because in the countries you mentioned, those employers are also offset by they have universal health care, they've got universal insurance, and they've got some other programs that I think we should have here that usually falls as the burden of the small business, that if they put that here, then I think more businesses would be more inclined. This is why I said the government has to put something in place so that when you do raise the minimum wage, that the business is not going to just simply try to raise the price of their goods. And in the countries you mentioned, if everybody's getting health care like they're getting in the countries you've mentioned, and if they're getting their retirement secured, those are costs that the businesses doesn't have to pay for anymore. And then it doesn't become as much of a burden or a pain to raise that minimum wage. As a matter of fact, we have seen this work in Washington State already, where the local government in Seattle has refined and given some businesses extra incentives to get their minimum wage to $15 an hour.
Well, let's hope it all works out that way. I mean, I honestly think that our economy is going to take a complete and utter dump on itself, in the coming months. I think what's going to happen is a lot of people are pushing to open up too early. They're going to open up too early. Yeah. There's going to be some major spikes in some areas, and the problem is there's going to be major spikes in a lot of areas this next time around. Right. Because last time we only had it in a couple of hot spots. We're going to have a lot of areas that didn't have it before, all of a sudden with some major spikes, and they're going to have to shut stuff down again. And it's going to be worse after that, because not only are people going to be pissed off that they have to get shut back down, but they're going to be much more afraid, because they're going to be like, wait a minute, I thought stuff was better. Our governors, our politicians that we voted for said it was okay to come back, and now it's not okay. Now we have to go. The people are going to be mad, and they're going to be scared. And when they do finally get a chance to come out after that second shutdown, they're not going to trust people. They're not going to want to come out in the same way. And stuff is going to suffer even greater than they are now. And we're going to start seeing, I mean, what I'm wondering is, when are we going to start seeing mortgage relief? Because there's going to be a lot of people in a matter of months that are losing their homes. Because right now you have the banks that are talking about, yeah, we'll give you 2 months, and we'll give you 3 months, and we'll push it to the back of your loan period. But what happens when that 3 months is over, and now all of a sudden we're still on lockdown, they still don't have jobs, and they're like, well, we gave you 3 months. Or they say, well, okay, we'll defer your loan, and now 3 months have come by, and they said, okay, well, your mortgage was $2,000 a month, your 3 months have passed, now you owe $6,000, pay up. I mean, there's going to have to be mortgage relief, and I don't think it's going to happen, because we've already heard Donald Trump say if the real estate market goes into a free fall, he wouldn't have rescued it. He would have swooped in and bought up all kinds of stuff. So, I mean, I think there's a whole host of terrible crap that's going to happen with the economy that's just waiting to happen. It's just down the road, and we're quickly approaching it.
Yep. T-Streams, get the last word on this one. We knew sooner or later that the crony capitalism bubble was gonna pop.
Oh yeah, it is. Is not even a question whether or not is going to happen. It's just like when, and when it does, are you are we prepared? Are we prepared for it? Because once something like that happens, it's going the effects or the ramifications from it is going to be devastating for some. Just simply for the sole reason is that if we are not if we have not been moving, preparing, thinking responsibly during this whole time, and putting things into effect for when this actually happens, man, we might be in some bad shape. I do hope that we're not taken aback where it's just going to set everything like back too bad, because then it would be a whole nother situation, a whole nother problem, and we'll be dancing around this revolving door without a way to actually get out. But you can best believe that it definitely is coming. And like I say, it's just a matter of when and what have we done to prepare for when this actually happened. Hey, Ma, I see my mom then joined us.
Hey, T-Stream's mother.
Hey, Todd.
happy belated Mother's Day.
There you go.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for us today. I was going to have a bash Trumpathon, but he does it to himself every day in those press releases every day. So I'm not going to bash him today. I'll save some for Friday.
Yeah, and the thing about that too is that you can have just turning on your TV or turning on your radio can give you material to have those type of conversations every single day.
Every day. Every day. Like today, I was going to bring it up today, but I don't want Larry to go into his diatribe because you want to get us fired up. First of all, now Trump's COVID-19 response team is trying to coerce the CDC to change the metrics in which they do their deaths and records for COVID-19 to fit his effing narrative. And I'm just like, man, come on, man.
Jeez.
Come on, man.
This thing is these people people are scientists. They report data. That's it. They're not sitting up there saying, I mean, they do policy on some level based on the data.
Right.
They don't do data based on the policy.
Exactly.
And to try and flip it is just freaking dangerous. I mean, we've already seen how dangerous it is. We are a nation of 350 million people. I mean, there are provinces in China that are bigger than our entire population, and they don't have as many infections or deaths. I mean,
right?
Because they took extreme measures to lock their stuff down. Other countries have taken measures to lock their stuff down and protect their citizenry, and we have someone who does not care about anybody but himself. He doesn't even, half the time I wonder if he even cares about himself. I think he only cares about the image of himself, because he's up there in the White House. Oh, we don't want to wear masks. We don't want to do this. We don't want to do that. Somehow he thinks his wealth and his white privilege is going to protect him from a virus that does not give a shit about him or who he is or what he is.
And then to add to what you're saying, once they figured out that this thing was killing minorities and people in poor more than it's killing everybody else, their ass put the pedal to the gas about let's open this fucking economy back up.
So what if it's black and brown people dying? So let's open it up.
Yeah, well, fuck them. We're only black and brown when we go tan, except for his ass turns orange. I mean, man, just golly.
I mean, the thing is, it's like they're so stupid they don't recognize the only reason why black and brown people are the ones up there getting infected and dying more is because the black and brown folks out there, the vast majority of people on the front lines, they're the people out there that are delivering your packages, delivering your food, making sure your grocery stores are still open and they're stocked every night. And those people go home and they get the virus, they pass it around amongst each other. The people come in and shop, they get it from those people, and then they go home and they give it to their family members. And so
and these people are making less than these people ain't even making minimum wage. Hardly. These people hardly even make minimum wage at that.
Right.
They might make $8.25 an hour, some stupid shit like that. And then you
But the
go
thing
home to
is-
your kids.
Right. And once they open things back up and everybody's out there and everybody's exposed to it, guess what? Everyone else is going to have it too. I mean, when this thing first popped up, everybody thought, oh, this must just be some disease that rich white people get because that seemed to be the only ones out there they were talking about that had it. You know? And then we realized, nope, that's not it because black people were up there talking that same ignorant stuff. Black people don't get this. It's only rich white folks that get it. No, it's not. It's just they're the ones out there that they're talking about.
Right.
Because when it hit us, it knocked a smile right off that jester.
It sure did. It sure did. Well, nobody running around here talking about because the water in my ravine was so dirty, I can't get the Rona. Shit.
Yeah. Okay.
Now you out here wishing. Now you out here wishing you didn't know the name Rona. You don't even want to drink Coronas no more. You so frustrated. You know. But folks, that is all for us tonight. Be sure to tune in Friday night when the Black Avengers of Current Culture. We're going to go live again. You never know what might come out of our mouth. You never know what we might say. We're definitely going to try to entertain, but more importantly, we're going to try to give you information and reasons to keep on fighting this fight to get through COVID-19. T-Stream, first word to get us out of here.
Stay true to yourself.
Larry.
I have two things quickly to say. One is, as it heats up and we start wanting to go outside, every year people run around in DC and start killing each other. It happens elsewhere too. Remember, they're killing us. We don't need to kill ourselves. They're doing a good enough job killing us for us. We don't need to help them out. Please stay safe, keep calm, and Killmonger is still the true hero of Wakanda.
If this man don't quit disrespecting this channel, you see I'm wearing a Marvel hat talking. Man, let me tell you something, man. Killmonger come back. You know how normally black people die early in the movie? His ass gonna be the first one to go. I just hope you know that. He's gonna go. And so
we might think he's gonna go, just like we thought he went at the end of the movie. He didn't go. We know he didn't go.
Man, he's done.
We know he didn't go.
He's done. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't seen Black Panther, the first one, what are you waiting on? Take some time, get your children, sit down, and enjoy the Black Panther until we talk to y'all on Friday. That's my last word. Be safe, be happy. Don't forget to like this video, comment, subscribe, get those life gains, and we'll see you Friday at 9.
Friday.
Cool. Peace.